This podcast is sponsored by YSC Real Estate Group, offering a tailor-made service, versatility and expertise for all your real estate needs. Are you thinking about selling, buying, investing or having your properties managed? For more information, check our website, www.yscrealestategroup.com. We are passionate about real estate and we love to support local businesses. We hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Cheers.
Welcome to episode 47 with Behind the Business with David and Jason.
47. I didn't know we were going to keep going with this, but I think it just made sense to. It's been like a year and so.
Yeah, I think it's good for the business.
I think it's good for the business, good to vent out for our business, and we were learning actually a lot from other businesses, and I think it was like it just got too crazy. Last year got way too crazy. This year was a gong show. There's a lot that happened this year, a lot of changes that happened this year, and I think we stopped last year, I guess 2022.
Yeah, I think we wanted to do it, but then we just got so busy, and then we had like guests that were planned, and then they canceled on us, and then we were just kind of like, fuck it. Like they rescheduled so many times that we're just like, all right, let's just focus on the business.
Yeah, I think that was the hard thing. It was like when you're so busy and then you coordinate it and then it cancels for like 2-3 people in a row.
Yeah.
That's like literally a month and so of like just no podcast, and we're like, okay, business got busy, and now we're just like, I think I don't know. I think it was something we both enjoyed doing, and we're like, man, why did we stop? And then I think all of this year was pretty hectic. A lot of growing pains for us. We could dive into that too, but like now we're moving over to EXP, which is big news for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving to leaving Equium and all that stuff, and it was it's been pretty crazy, man. I would say.
Yeah, a lot of changes, a lot of internal conflict in the business. Just like stupid shit. Dealing with everybody. But it was a tough market. And I think we needed to just really focus and kind of double down on the business. So
I think what happened, essentially what happened is, I want to talk about our whole transition from, we were at Remax, COVID hit, and it was still me and Dave, and then, if we want to talk about YYC Real Estate as a business, we've been in the business for, how long has YYC Real Estate been alive for?
Since 2017, so like 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. And so the transition of business, I think, for me, I'm learning, Dave's learning. It's hard, man. It's hard, and like it's funny because we were talking about business, and a lot of people that came on the podcast aren't even on the business, like in the business anymore.
In real estate?
In their business or in real estate also.
Yeah.
In general, right?
Some people, yeah.
There's some people that exited out, and a lot of not a lot, but like some people in some people in our business aren't even agents anymore. And there's like 3 or 4 people I know that got into the business in real estate and they're out.
Yeah. Well, we started this business in 2017, which essentially was almost the bottom of pricing in Calgary. Like the deals weren't coming through and all that stuff, but we kind of survived until the market got super busy. And then once the market got super busy, I think that's when a lot of new agents came in.
Yeah.
like expecting it to be like this gravy train, and then what happened was
COVID realtors. A lot of people came after COVID too.
COVID, market was hot, people decided to switch into the industry, and then when the market kind of took a dump with the like high interest rates, like a lot of agents didn't survive, so it kind of weeded out a lot of people.
Yeah, I think it weeded out a lot of people, and I think a lot of agents, I wouldn't say a lot, but like just from what I see, a lot of people exited the business. They said over 60,000 people left real estate in the States, right? And I also think like when you get into that business and it's like fresh and it's really hot, you have nothing to compare it to also. So like you think that is real estate. And we were saying since the beginning, when a lot of realtors, joined our team, we're like, this isn't real estate, guys. You guys enjoy it right now. This is not how real estate is.
Yeah.
And I think they got used to that and they realized like, yeah, it isn't like that at all.
Yeah, I think the market really dictates the success of people, but when people are successful, they don't really want to work. They don't want to keep consistent. Like they're so used to the deals just kind of falling on their lap, and then when the like that gravy train dies out, then they don't know what to do, and then you can give them all the advice that you can, but if they're not taking any action to produce the results, then like their business will reflect that, right? So I think that's what we've been warning a lot of the associates in the past, is just like, save your money, like the fucking sky is falling. So like this is not real, this is not realistic, so like have a contingency plan in a worst case scenario.
Yeah, and before we talk more about real estate and the business as being a realtor, for our business, I kind of want to talk about like our transition and everything, and why we left Equium, why we're at EXP now, and kind of like that whole side of the business of like not just real estate, but just we dived into property management, we dived into Airbnbs, right? So like for our business, this year was a very, I think, huge internal stuff with me and Dave, where we had to sort out a lot of things as the business grew, right?
Yeah.
And it was like we were at Remax, we ended up at Equium, and I think when we were at Equium, it was just me and Dave, and I think Cindy was there. I don't know.
Yeah. Cindy was there as well.
Cindy was there initially at Equium with us. No, when we were at Remax. Yeah. And then Cindy, something happened. Cindy
left for a bit.
Cindy left for a bit. We don't need to go into that, but like that was business, right? Like something happened with Cindy and whatever that. How long were you gone for? 6 months or something?
Yeah.
6 months or whatever. Mel was supporting then, and then we were still at Remax, and then I think a few things happened at Remax internally also, not with us, but just in general, where it didn't
make sense for us.
It didn't make sense for us. So a lot of people listening, like, they're like, "Oh, why'd you go to Equium?" We weren't planning on going to Equium. We just
kind of fell in our laps.
I think we were actually deciding between EXP and Equium or other brokerage, Grand Realty. I don't know. Anyways, it made sense for us to go to Equium at that point. And then during Equium, we grew a lot. And long story short, I kind of had to be the broker at Equium, which was like something I wish that I never did, right? But anyways, in hindsight, it didn't make sense for us to move at that time also, because we just moved there, right?
Yeah. I think it happened the way it had to happen.
Yeah.
for us to grow, just because like the opportunity came up. We were leaving brokerages, and then we had we have a pretty good relationship with Equium, and they were sending a lot of like referrals and stuff like that to us. So it made sense, but it got to the point where they grew so much that like helping our business wasn't a priority.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't think it was ever their priority too, but I don't think we knew that we were going to grow also as a team, because we went into Equium, just me and you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the team kind of grew organically, right?
Yeah.
Like as we grew our business, built the name and brand, people started to see that, and then people were essentially getting referred to us as like associates to come join our team, and then we just kind of organically grew those associates, and then grew the team to a point. Then the market got busy, and then we got more people coming to join us, and then everyone was doing pretty well performance-wise. And then what happened was when the markets shifted and the inventory decreased and the interest rates went up, that's when like it was pretty much feast or famine for a lot of associates, right? And I don't think they were used to that hustle, like being on call, like you're getting a call at or like a text at 8-9 o'clock in the morning to go and do showings like right after work. We were essentially on call last year for all the clients, and if you weren't available, then people would be losing out on houses because there's like 10-15 offers on a place because there's nothing on the market. Then you got a huge influx of people moving here from Ontario, British Columbia, and they're coming here and just snatching things up just because they've never seen prices this low. So that's kind of what drove the market last year.
Yeah, and I think I think what I learned with the agents too was like when they came, it was like this is a reason why we're moving to EXP2. It's like we put so much time, energy, and effort towards them, and then they would just leave.
Yeah.
And it was like the first one was very painful, but the first one was, I mean, I think it wasn't a good fit. So I feel like with each person that has joined us, we've kind of learned a lot, right?
Well, yeah, you learn as you go because, I mean, in any business, there's turnover, right?
Yeah.
Like, not everybody's going to stay loyal to the business or the brand or whatever like that. There's like a turning point in their own business where they decide that this may not be a fit for them anymore, right? Just because of their own personal personal finances or whatever it is. Like they want to try and see what it's like on their own, and I think that's pretty normal.
I think so too. I just think I took it more personally because we were at the brokerage. Like we essentially, like, it was us, right? Equium was the brokerage that they were joining also.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like this move with EXP, it's going to alleviate a lot of, how do you say, responsibility for,
for both of us.
Yeah, like just like none of the, like running a brokerage and like being the accountable for it was something I wish upon no one, and I feel like I should close the door.
That's fine.
But yeah, like when you're running a business, there's so many aspects of like, some people are just realtors, which is fine, and then there's team leads, there's management, there's, I think that's what I learned was like, you can't be in all areas.
Yeah.
And you need to like when we decided we were gonna leave, like a whole weight off my shoulders was like gone, you know. And I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to leave now, you know. And I think in business as a realtor too, you are essentially a business, and you have to learn how to not only become a realtor, but it was like for us, it was like learning to grow and manage a business also, right?
Well, the thing too is that like we're so busy in all different aspects, it actually takes away your energy and time from other things, right? So I think it's important to like open that space and energy for different opportunities that make sense, or things that you actually want to do.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Right? Because like you only have, 24 hours in a day, 8 hours of that you're sleeping, and you're spending 8 hours working on it. So it's like, a third of your life is essentially working on stuff. So it's like you might as well be doing things you actually enjoy instead of doing things that like take away your time and energy, and that's how you burn out, right? If you're doing all these things you don't like doing. So I think that's like a big thing that we talked about last year was like, let's get rid of all the fluff that isn't, like has less purpose for us.
Yeah.
And less meaning to us, and just delegate those things, or find someone that can perform in those aspects, so that it gives us more time and energy to focus on the things that we actually enjoy doing.
Yeah, like the podcast, right? Like when we talked about that last year, well, I guess this year, but this is going to be posted next year. But yeah, like I think for me, it's like I didn't even realize, like I was so in it, and like didn't realize how much a lot of things I didn't like to do. And then when I got clarity with myself, it was interesting. As the business grew for me, I felt like I was losing more of my identity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it was like I was in this weird spot where I was like, how do I grow without losing myself? And then I think I literally for about 6 months I really did disconnect from work, which I think was the best thing for me that year. I was like, yeah, I need to disconnect. I need to figure out myself, and I got to figure out what the next moves are, right? And I think for you too, right? And then I definitely felt the team felt it, and it was like, but it had to happen the way it happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you have to find yourself again when you're running this biz, just because there's so many aspects of the business that constantly need attention, but it's like you can't take the wheels off one car and put it onto another and expect them to run, Like
Yeah.
that's what our coach said before, like you need to fill these spaces with someone else to do the work, because there's no point of taking the wheels off the car, right, when you're traveling at like 100 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, and that's essentially what we were doing. Even with ourselves, I feel like, well, for me, it was like taking the wheel off, putting it somewhere else, and then that place that
something else would
something else, and that it was like
it affects something else right after.
Yeah. I think our business though is what people don't understand is like we're in so many avenues, which I think I like, because like you have to be diversified. But I also think like if you're thinking of being a realtor or wanting to become a realtor, I definitely think you need to come into it as a business versus like, and I think that's what we're telling the agents that are joining us and that have teamed up with us, right? It's like it's better to, like, the reason why we moved to EXP is because John he's gone through all that shit to build a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Well, we kind of did, but we were just learning as we grew, right? And I think the biggest thing is like having a mentor where like just, hey, what do we do? We're at this point. What's the next move? And they just go, this is what you did. This is what I learned.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you should do. Versus like I feel like before, like, dude, the first agents that joined us, we didn't have contracts or like
No.
our splits were low. We didn't even know what we were doing. We were just like, yeah, we were like, it was just not structured at all. And it was like, if we had that, I don't know, that mentor or someone that'd be like, hey, yeah, you guys are, this is what you guys got to do, or even the systems in place, right? Like, we were trying to create all the back end system just for commission payouts at Equium.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, I don't know, Cindy knows what, this was like the worst stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's no guidebook to do this stuff.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't have like a mentor in place to kind of lead you in the right direction. We're just trying to figure it out on our own, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that like there's so many people that have done it before, so why not lean onto them for that guidance? And I think that's something that we lacked at Equium. But now that we're kind of transitioning over to EXP, like we actually have kind of like instruction manual of what to do and what to build and how to make things move forward.
I think that it'll be a lot easier for everyone, especially like not being. It's like they already have the systems, they already have everything ready to go. It's just plug and play, right?
Yeah.
Versus like when we were trying to do it ourselves, it was like, what do we do? What's the next move? Oh, we didn't even do this, or we didn't do that, or like, it was literally learning
from our mistakes.
Exactly, just like non-stop learning. And it was like, I think that was very draining too, because it never ended.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I think that's why me and Dave had eternal conflicts, I would say, with each other, and we had to figure out our stuff. Was like, no one even taught us, or we didn't even have guidance for us as we grew, right? Because
yeah.
I think it's different. Like, when we were talking, Dave, you're like, yeah, we had a mindset when we were first joining, it's just me and you.
Mm-hmm.
But now, like, we need a different mindset with, we have a team now, we have a company.
Yeah.
We're doing more than just real estate. We're doing Airbnbs. We have our other stuff on the side. Like, there's so many moving parts now. Like, I think it's just like, you need that support to bring you to the top, right?
Yeah. I think year one in the business is very different from year 6. So you can't come in with a year one mentality at year 6. Like you kind of have to grow and adapt and change things so that they make sense for everybody, right? And I think that's something that we're going to continue to have to go through and learn as the team grows, as people come and go, all these things. But it's like, at the end of the day, like the business still needs to run and operate in those circumstances.
Oh yeah, man. It's like a marriage. I feel like.
Yeah. Like the team felt like fucking Jason and I were like the mom and dad, and all the associates were like our kids.
Yeah.
And like, they'll ask one person if they can do something.
Yeah.
And if they don't get the action or result that they want, they'll go ask the other parent.
Yeah. And then they started asking Cindy. Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man. But like, I think that just happens. Like, it's unknown territory. The longer the business grows, and the thing is, if you're not willing to adapt and grow and evolve and change your own mindset, like it's very hard to proceed, right? Especially being in like aligned and just being complete with one another. Like, even with me and Mel in a relationship, right? We've been together for almost 6-7 years, and like this year was a very hard year for us too, because it's like we had to figure out what the next move was, because we were like, okay, we've never been with anyone longer for 6 years, so like, what do you do, right?
What's next,
right? And I think that's what was happening exactly with our business. It was like, no one knew. We had to take time apart, get realigned, and then move forward. And I think like I think like what we did was like a really good move just to exit out of Equium and, you know, for us to get realigned and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest lessons you learned, Dave, last couple of years?
That's a good question.
'Cause, yeah, you went through some shit too.
I mean, life goes on.
Dude, no one gives a shit. Yeah, this is what I learned, okay? You could be going through some shit and it's like no one really does care, but they do, but like at the end of the day, I feel like no one really does care cuz everyone's going through their own shit.
Everyone has their own problems, and then, you know, their problems are always going to be greater than yours.
Yeah.
But it's like no one really is looking at you. Like they're not wondering why things are going the way things are going for you. And I think that's like something that I was dealing with. Is just like, you just got to keep on pushing forward regardless of what issues you're dealing with in your own personal life, work, or whatever like that. Like the business and service doesn't stop. Do you know what I mean? Because your clients don't care if you're having a fucking bad day. You know, like,
dude, it's crazy. Nobody, like, as harsh as it sounds, nobody really cares unless you talk about it and then you have like a conversation, but no one really cares.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in like this year was really hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I only had like deep conversations about what I was really going through with a few people.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people were like, "What's going on? Oh, you're not. Where are you at? You know, like."
I think a lot of people don't get it either, right? Because they don't know what it's like to run and operate like a business with like over 15 people. So it's like, how do you relate to someone that has never gone through something like that? So you almost have to step outside of your own networks and you know, your own people, because they may have not experienced anything that you've experienced, because it's not even in their like realm.
Yeah, no one will understand really what you're going through. And I think business, and I think this is what I really love about the podcast and the business, is people sharing their businesses, their struggles and everything. But like, I really want to emphasize this to anyone listening. Like, business is fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like, it's like depression, anxiety, like stress, like I feel like being a business owner and like going through business, and just from my own experience, what we went through, like, this year was very hard, and I feel like we came out of it stronger, more aware, better. But like, I feel like, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. You don't need to go through it, but it is fulfilling if you could get past it, right? But like, think about how many businesses shut down because they cannot push through it, right? It's like, dude, even a point, it was like in my brain, I was like, should we just shut this down? Like, we talked about it. We're like,
Yeah.
Does this even make sense for anyone? Like, are we, like, where are we going with this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where it's like a lot of business struggle to get past certain levels, right? And I definitely think like, if you don't change for the business and change yourself, like, I don't know where I heard this, but like a good thing that really like settled with me to push the business more forward was like, your business will only grow as big as the person's mindset, right? And I was like, okay, well, I was like, we don't have, remember, I was like, dude, if we don't have a breakthrough here, we're done. right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, yeah, like the business is only going to grow to as big as that person's mindset will let it grow to, because there's like a threshold for everyone, right?
Yeah. I mean, we were almost ready to bring it back to like the basics, just not have to deal with anybody's bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's the good and bad part about business is there is fulfillment in it. And I think that one thing that we don't really look at or we kind of take for granted is like 6 years ago we were asking for this, and now we're here and we're like we're not even really acknowledging it or you know, just like being grateful for it, because at a point this is what we wanted and now we're here. We're like, what's next? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not really present to what has actually been achieved and what's been accomplished in the last 6 years, but we're always looking at like what's next, right? So
Yeah, and I think that's something like a bad quality for me and you, um, that we have, because like, you know, our coach, I mean, we do have a coach, I would say now, but like last year we had a coach too, and even the coach before that kind of was trying to coach us, they were saying like we don't celebrate anything.
mm-hmm.
And I think I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Like I think it's like
too much shit going on.
there's too much shit. I do think the podcast humbles us a little bit, but I do feel like, yeah, like 6 years ago, and even like realtors right now would love to be in our position,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they, like a lot of, I would say as a realtor, you, it's very, I mean, unless you're like, you know, this is my only thing I want to do, this is what I love, this is everything, but to be a solo realtor, I'm just from my experience, to be a solo agent by yourself sucks. Like, it is not fun.
Yeah.
And there's no one to celebrate the success except yourself. You can't share all the things that you've done or all the failures or whatever. But like, yeah, for us 6 years ago, before we joined, you know, me and you were solo, then we joined, and you know, there's other stuff that's complementing our business. But like, yeah, to get to this point, we haven't, I guess we could have celebrated a little bit more and appreciated each other, but I feel like me and you have this mindset of like, what's next? Like, what's the next thing? And I feel like that's this, what is that, burning desire for like continuous growth. I don't know what that is, but like it I would say it's definitely something we don't do enough, for sure.
Yeah. I like to call it an insatiable desire for more. Like, we always want to see what's next. Like, what's the next level?
Yeah.
Where are we at? What's next? What's the next level? We're not even present to like what we've accomplished or achieved, because we're always looking at what are the next few steps, you know.
So I would say, what are the next few steps for YYC? I think the first one for sure is this transition to EXP and like opening a lot more doors for us.
Yeah, I think just having a good support system with John Sai, and just helping us get guided to build a like better performing team, and then just kind of growing those aspects, because there is a lot of growth in our biz. Even within the last year, we are only down by like 7% of what we closed last year and we were expecting this year to be a way worse year. So like even on a bad year, it was still a pretty good year. So like I think the projections of how things will go as the market shifts will be even better next year, right? So
Yeah, and considering all the shit that we went through last year, and we were still able to perform and s- keep the company alive. I think with what do you call it? With like more alignment and energy, it's like I think that's what is helping it grow also. If for next year, right? Because like I always look at like imagine it's like if you're able to at least stabilize and maintain even in a down market, and like no one's happy, like what's the possibility of it when it's in a going up market and everyone was like good, you know? And I think that's what happened in 2022, right? It was like everything just came to us.
yeah,
It was pretty crazy.
I think 2022 was probably a good year for most agents, and then 2023 was probably like a reality check for them. But I think we came into this in a down market, so I feel like that's all I really know is the down. Like we had to kind of take a step back and focus back on the fundamentals of what got us to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like not lose sight of what we did to get out of that, like that down market, and then succeed in an upturn market, right? So I think that's what a lot of agents don't do is they're not going back to the basics of what propelled their business to begin with, and just stay consistent with it.
And I think that's what we have to teach them, and we're trying to teach, because it's like they're like, oh, you know, I've been working with this buyer for 6 months. And we're like, and you know, it's like there's some buyers it's a couple years, right? You know, like it's like they don't know that, right? They don't know anything else, so that like their expectation in real estate. I remember even sign calls in 2022. It's like sign calls, they close. I'm like, you guys, this is not real estate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's like, you know, last year a lot of them was like, oh, I've been working on this lead for 1 month, 1 year. You know, it's like
That's normal.
like, yeah, that's what you should be. That's in the typical market, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah, it'll be fine though.
yeah, I think it'll be fine. I think we're excited to move. I feel there's a big transition in real estate. You know, one of the biggest teams just moved over to EXP, and I think a lot of people saw that too.
Yeah, I was just talking about that last night with a couple of the guys that I met that are through EXP, and I think that with that big move, it kind of drawed a lot of attention to other agents and associates and teams and stuff like that to come join the EXP brand.
Yeah, and even we like a lot of comments already, and for me, just by like kind of mentioning that we are like, I feel like it's just it's the next move. I think it is the future of real estate, and I think that's where, I mean, there's still so much stuff I don't know about it, but like just for what we were doing, it makes sense for us also, right? Because like they already have everything. So yeah, I think we are just excited for the podcast. We're gonna get back on it, guys. We're gonna get back onto the real estate business. I think you're gonna see us a lot more. One thing I did actually want to talk about was thoughts on Airbnbs and property management. Like I've been seeing a lot more rentals. I feel like, especially this year coming up, a lot of investors coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Airbnbs, I think, are. I don't know where I'm like. This is what's crazy about business. Like, we put so much energy, effort into Airbnbs, we got it going, and it's like, just like that, the government could just shut it down. It's crazy to me.
Yeah. I mean, the market shifting, and especially with like what happened in New York, now it's happening in BC, and it's also happening in Hawaii. They're banning Airbnb in Hawaii too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just a matter of time before it starts to trickle into the smaller cities. But yeah, we put a lot of time and energy in that, and like capital as well to get those running and operating. And it's like fucking the rug pulled under us potentially.
It's scary, man, and I think that was a talk I had with Mel this year, right? I was like, because Mel's running it. She put a lot of energy, time, effort in it, even like still to this day, right? And it's like, that's how crazy business is. Is like, something happens and it's like gone.
Yeah.
Regulations, like anything could happen. Airbnb could be banned, and it's like, how many people are gonna lose their business because of that?
Mm-hmm.
Not just us, but like there's people there that are just solely Airbnbs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that whole business is gonna be gone. It's kind of like Blockbuster or Netflix, right? Just like adaptation, evolve, or you're gonna get gone, right? So it's like, even when you evolve, the time it takes to get there is already too late. It's for some businesses.
Yeah, well, I think we've dealt with that in the past as well too. Just clients buying a property solely to Airbnb, and then the building bans it, right? And then it kind of falls onto us because we have to deal with the issues with that, and then having to sell it or whatever like that. But I mean, I think it just comes with the nature of the business, and you just have to educate your clients, like the risks, right? Let them make the decisions.
Yeah, exactly. Even with a lot of realtors coming on, like I found out a few realtors was getting their license this year, and already have, and I was like,
People you know?
Yeah.
Oh.
Not saying names, but I was like, interesting. There goes some of our business, because like they're realtors now, right? And it's like, dude, think of how many realtors have come and joined the business since we started. Like, how many new realtors?
Fuck, I don't know.
Like, a lot. And like, how many realtors are there right now? So
everyone and their grandma wants to be a realtor now.
Exactly. I think that's
Sunset.
Definitely not like selling Sunset though.
Yeah.
It is definitely not like selling Sunset. I'll tell you that for sure. You guys ain't seen the grind. You guys in the behind the scenes of being a realtor is definitely not like that. But everyone wants to become a realtor, and I'm not hating on that. It is what it is. I think it's just for like experienced realtors, they definitely need to step it up. You got to adapt, you got to evolve, or you're going to be left behind. And I feel like that's exactly what we did, and what we are always doing, right?
Yeah. I think we're always in a state of growth.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes we shouldn't be. But it's good to have like a forward projection of a business instead of stagnation.
Well, they say if you're not growing, you're slowly dying, right? And I think that's the problem, is like, even being at Equium, just with like, the commission checks, it was like a whole ordeal there. And it was like, yeah, we got to make a change here,
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. I don't have anything else to say, Dave. Do you?
That is all.
We will see you guys next time. I think this year we're gonna have some good people on the podcast.
Yeah, already gearing up for a lot of new guests and like speakers on different businesses and stuff like that. So I think it'll be good.
For sure. All right. See you guys.